Tidal wave hits Oklahoma classroom. Sophomores climb Mount Everest.
This is the highest mountain peak in the world.
IBM is helping teachers teach and bring subjects to life with courseware developed with teachers for teachers. Courseware that complements a teacher's curriculum from kindergarten through high school. 5-year-old writes life story. Now available in paperback. Oh, I love this. This is great. A life with pictures.
As we've noted several times this morning marks Jane's last as a regular member of the Today program. It is her final morning in a run that has lasted 13 years. 5 as co-host to Tom Brokaw, and now 8 with me. That makes for a lot of headaches, but also a lot of memories, some of which we recall now before final goodbye.
Thank you, Lou. And as we promised a few moments ago, Jane Pauley, the newest addition to the Today family, has a chance now to say a few words of her own about all the attention that this campaign to see who the new woman on the Today program would be.
I've seen it called the female sweepstakes, and there has been an undue amount of attention about all this, and I will belabor the point for the next minute and a half and drop it thereafter. But every story I've seen begins by noting that a year and a half ago, Jane Pauley was a second-string newsreader in Indianapolis. That's a fact. Well, maybe you're wondering how I got here, and maybe I am too.
My impressions were that she was enormously self-confident when the red light went on. When the red light went off, you saw that this was a young woman who was not too long out of Indianapolis and weekends in Chicago. But she had, at the core always, a strong sense of who she was, and no one was going to ever reshape that, I think.
You can buy peanuts in Plains, Georgia. They come in peanut butter. They're raw, they're roasted. Sometimes they're varnished. Anthony Quinn, 6'2", 190 pounds of rugged versatility.
Jane's just about ready to come down off her mountain now. It has been lonely at the top, but we have appreciated her efforts this morning. Jane?
Looking at the world from up here, it's easy to understand what scientist Carl Sagan meant when he said that astronomy deflates some of man's most common conceits. We're back with the wife of the Prime Minister of Canada, Mrs. Pierre Trudeau, Margaret Trudeau.
We've watched her grow. We've watched her mature. And I think that is probably one of her greatest appeals, is that we do feel that we know Jane Pauley.
The Dutch Oven, just north of 465 in Indianapolis.
Thousands of U.S. forces on the ground in Panama. Will they remain there until...
I think she creates an atmosphere that makes the news, which is often harsh, a little more acceptable to me.
People relate to her just like they would a friend.
Would it be your guess that the White House will have tough going in making their case or not?
She explains it, you understand it, she's clear, she's distinct.
Honestly, one thing that I really enjoy, that I really like about her, and that I can relate to, is that sometimes her hair really doesn't look very good.
I guess I could talk about her hair some.
Over the last 8 years, we have covered a lot of ground together through good hair days and bad ones.
The Greeks felt that your hair was really the center of your soul, your power. It expressed your health and your status and who you were. And in fact, what it says about Jane is that she really senses her audience. It's not too sexy. She knows that this is a morning program. It's not too cute. She knows this is an important program. And it's very much of an individual, which Americans are. And also she knows she's a working woman. And she's come out very much as a person that you can identify with.
Our pal here is getting married next week to a little-known cartoonist, a guy who didn't win his first Pulitzer until he was 12, I think.
What do you eat besides steak and potatoes?
I eat catfish. I'm from Indianapolis. I eat steak and potatoes.
You've met my mom. This is Mary. Hi, Mom. And my dad. This is Dick Pauley.
This is the dipstick. I've waited a lifetime to do this.
We have to say goodbye for a while to my friend here, who at the end of this morning's program begins a 3-month maternity leave.
All the cliches about Jane are true. You know, that she is the young woman that you'd like to have as your daughter. Or if you didn't have her as your daughter, you'd like to have her living next door because you could be at ease with her, whatever her success may be. That she does have this really quick sense of humor.
I used to roller skate a lot. As I mentioned before, I could never go backwards, but I could do the hokey pokey. I couldn't turn myself around.
We're back once again, and Chicago, as we do even in New York, occasionally we forget to put on the microphone.
Got to keep the equipment warm.
Not many of us these days get a chance. Oh, wait a minute. We'll be talking about his life as an actor and as a person, because there is a difference. Jane Pauley is here, too.
And she is a person as well.
I'm glad to have that certified and out before us. We'd all suspected that. Nice of you to confirm it.
My pleasure.
You gonna take a puff?
Now, does that look ridiculous?
I want a copy of that tape. I want that tape for my audition reel.
Does that? You're not supposed to.
Sartre, Camus, Jane Pauley.
Are you kidding?
No.
There was a picture in a newspaper today that I was a little alarmed by. I look like I'm going to be afloat in the parade tomorrow.
You mean you won't stand for us?
No. I mean, I can't.
One time.
No,
Yeah.
sir.
No?
No. America understands.
Oh, this is so good. It doesn't look attractive to eat it on television. No, it doesn't. Talk about it while you're eating it, but it is so good.
Breathe normally, breathe normally. It's okay, don't worry.
Someone-
Calm down, guys.
Station break.
Okay, well, we've amassed the data from the Today Show for the 13 years while Jane was on, run it through a computer, and compiled a number of very interesting summary statistics relevant to the show. One thing we found is that she's performed about 3,000 shows for Today.
With Bryant Gumbel and Jane Pauley.
And in the course of that, Jane has done over 12,000 interviews. And asked them approximately 88,000 questions.
So what's the story?
She's gone on over 70 trips for the show, and in the course of doing so, she's amassed about 200,000 miles of travel time.
Ohio gozaimasu, Brian.
This
Give me a whole garlic.
Happy Easter, Your Holiness. Been a pretty good opening day, yes?
It's been outstanding. Or just, excuse me, just another day at the office.
Yes, just another day in the office.
I think that people know that she is Jane Pauley through and through, that she doesn't wear one mask in the morning or one mask in one interview and another in another. She is at the center, just rock solid.
That maybe if you had it to do over again, because of the hurt all of the tax disclosures caused your family, you might not do it over again. Does that stand, or was that a low moment that's passed?
It was a low moment.
But when I learned the piano, it was nothing at all to do with what Jerry Lee Lewis does with
I
the
know,
piano.
this is an Olympic event.
Stupid question. What's your hair going to do in 0G?
Nothing, I hope.
Persuading NBC that it was time for a crew change is the hardest thing I have ever done. It has taken 2 long months. In that time, I have heard from every friend I ever had, and a whole lot of friends I didn't know I had. And thank you so much.
I happened to interview Robert De Niro the other day. Now, we all admire him I think he's one of America's finest actors. But he didn't strike me as the kind of guy I'd get up in the morning and watch the Today Show. He not only gets up and watches the Today Show every morning, he told me when he heard that Jane was leaving, he wrote her a fan letter and said how much he was going to miss her. So I think that that's Jane's great ability, that she can reach everyone from Robert De Niro across the middle of America into the heartland.
It's been fun, fellas.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm not going to say goodbye. It's hi.
Oh?
Excuse me. A little precautionary Kleenex in my pocket. If I was going to say anything meaningful, would this be the opportunity to do it?
Probably.
Because I wasn't informed of how this would be choreographed, and I took the liberty of writing a few things down that I just wanted to say. As you all know, 1989 has been a year nobody is likely to forget. Nobody is likely to remember 1989 as the year the Today Show made a crew change. I have not entirely lost my perspective, but maybe you'll all allow me this little indulgence, because it has been a very remarkable year for me. And next year promises to be pretty interesting too, and I'm anxious to get on with it. But first, the hard part. I have to thank NBC for giving me this incredible front row seat for the last 13 years. And my colleagues for being more like family and for making this studio feel like a home, but especially to viewers who have been loyal to the show. Some of you for generations, and I'm thinking particularly of one man who wrote me a fine, long letter and closed it with the phrase that proved he went back a lot further with this show than even I did. He quoted the late Frank McGee, who used to sit here. Frank never said goodbye, but at least 1,000 times he said, "Don't go far," and I won't, and don't you either. Thanks.
Okay. We'll come back in just a moment, right after this.
I love you.
Champagne is now being served on the after deck.
By the way, when will your inheritance come through?
Lobster is now being served on the promenade deck.
I love your villa at Monte Carlo.
Colombian coffee is now being served in the starboard side lounge. No wonder so many people's preferences lean toward 100% Colombian coffee. It's the richest coffee in the world. Handpicked by Juan Valdez.
My Jake is this real serious guy in a three-piece suit, but put a little butter on his muffin. He's a joy to watch. He sniffs it like a kid, then eats all around the butter so he can save it for last. Then, when he finally gets to the butter, you know it.